Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're delighted and honoured by your presence today to discuss infrastructure for a better future, a forum for vision, leadership and action. This dialogue forms part of a week-long program under the very full banner of the International Symposium for Next Generation Infrastructure. This is very much an Australian initiative and it is from SMART. We've brought together the right mix of the expert community with policymakers, practitioners and academics that will work together to address the big issues on infrastructure. The settlement system, ladies and gentlemen, of the last 100 years is not equipped for the next 100.
Infrastructure is being elevated to a level of importance as a means to securing both our economic and social prosperity.
We are a nation that punches above its weight. The challenge facing us today is to form a funding model that ensures we build the infrastructure we need to power the growth and the competitiveness of our nation in the years ahead.
The quality of public infrastructure is really a reflection of the quality of government.
To get momentum, we need decisions. I put this challenge to our governments.
We need a mechanism to bring investors to the table.
You have to have the big picture, the system as Tony referred to it, before you get stuck into the particular project.
I think that you need the will around the cabinet table to make some of those decisions, which give us the capacity to do all this, and a broad public message that this is the way we're going to achieve the infrastructure that you want to see.
You have to get the context correct, and that way you get a chance of long-term agreement about where you're going, and you've got a better chance of getting the implementation of the individual projects right.
What's been missing around the infrastructure debate is a place where you could have an independent discussion that stakeholders can come together and drive forward an agenda. And we see SMART as playing a critical role around that. This conversation is not just about today, it's going to go forward over the next few years.
We don't really take the time to think in a sustained manner holistically about issues such as these. So I think this is a great event.
To be able to collaborate and learn from each other is crucial. And this symposium is absolutely the best way of getting young people, experienced people, people from different walks of life, not just academics, getting them all in the room together to discuss the issues, all aimed at a similar sort of area of livability and making sure we live in a better way than we currently do now.
This conference is a good chance to share knowledge on infrastructure development, and it's a good chance also to extend the international network about the infrastructure experts.
SMART is bringing the different players together, and it's rare that happens effectively. The fact that SMART has the international collaborations to bring world thinking to the issues, not just Australian thinking to the issues, is a huge advantage.
This symposium series is really targeted towards bringing together the different sectors, disciplines, and looking at this not just from an engineering perspective, but also from a social and behavioral perspective. The Smart Infrastructure Facility has been able to do that quite successfully, and hopefully this symposia series will launch a new way of thinking about infrastructure design and provision, and can actually be an agent of change.
I think this symposium is reasonable evidence that SMART is at least on the way to being successful. I think it's well down the way to becoming a genuine global player, which is the idea.
This evening I'm delighted to have the role of being able to introduce our distinguished guest speaker, Dr. Ken Henry, AC.
It really is a pleasure to be here. I was going to start by acknowledging distinguished guests, but I figure you're all distinguished guests. And because you're here at this conference, I know that you also share something with me, which is a passion for infrastructure.
I think it's essential we start to learn from what's going on in other countries to help deal with our infrastructure challenges.
What's most important though is to do the research so that you understand a lot of the key issues and can quantify these things. Without quantification, you can make any argument you want.
Having that academic ability working with people, working with the practical delivery of infrastructure systems will help us develop products and systems that will help us make better decisions in the future.
The way in which they're engaging with the politicians, with the industry and so on, and not just sitting in an ivory tower doing stuff on their own. I think those two things, particularly in combination, mean it's a very strong facility for going forward.
They're really leading the way, and of course the university is providing research and outcomes that are practical and pragmatic, which is very important.
Infrastructure is a global issue, and we have a lot to learn by sharing experiences globally.
And every neighborhood, every community needs to have a Wollongong smart facility in it, benchmarking where it is, where it's going, and what it can contribute to the world.
I hope as a way forward, we think about engaging more and more with the developing countries. Perhaps we can have more of a dialogue that brings a lot of those societies into the mix.
We need to unleash the next generation of creativity in order to make sure that what we have in the next 50 to 100 years is fit for purpose.
We've had fantastic keynote speakers. These need to be known not only by us, but by everyone around there, out there, to get more people involved.
We are honoured by your presence and we're humbled by your contribution, and we have learned so much. The Smart Infrastructure Facility is much richer for the experience, and I particularly want to thank our co-host partners who have been so supportive and mentoring and giving guidance and suggestions along the way. I think that's just been extremely helpful, and we hope that we can in some small way contribute to the success of your endeavours as we go forward.